Good afternoon. I am here to talk to you guys today about the importance of forestry, moreover professional foresters and their importance here in Colorado in the wake of the mountain pine beetle and other forest health issues. So behind me you have a treated stand of lodgepole. There's also some aspen and some ponderosa pine in here. So what's going on, general overview, is we're here on the Colorado Front Range, particularly the Arapahoe Roosevelt National Forest. So this is administered, owned, overseen, whatever word you want to use, by the U.S. Forest Service. So what ended up happening here is mountain pine beetle outbreak occurred. I'm not sure on the exact years. I think somewhere probably anywhere from 2006 to 2010. But my local knowledge of this exact stand is a little shaky, so don't quote me on that. But anyhow, so mountain pine beetle came through. They were concerned about all the standing dead, which poses a major risk for wildfire, for high intensity wildfire. It also, was they wanted to try to get some economic value out of it. So I'm assuming they came in here with a salvage, some kind of salvage treatment. It looks to be, more or less they try to do a seed tree cut, maybe a shelter wood, but judging by the density, it's probably a seed tree. And the difference between the two is more or less just the density. Seed tree is somewhere around the 25 trees per acre ballpark, whereas shelter wood is usually probably about 40-ish. 40 trees per acre, but those numbers a little give and take. If you get a little bit below, if you get a little bit below, like the 15, 20 trees per acre ballpark, you're starting to get into a clear cut with reserves, and then anything above like 45, above a shelter wood. Oh man, I'm a little rusty on that, but I think it would be a shelter wood as well. But that's the premise of all that is even aged approaches. So it's like trying to get a cohort of trees to establish the next generation. So trying to establish a new age class of trees, and with all of those trees, or like treatments, seed tree, clear cut with reserve, shelter wood, oftentimes, but not necessarily always, they do an overstory removal, which means then they, like, after the regeneration gets to a certain age, it becomes established. Let's just say for intensive purposes, this being a lodgepole pine stand primarily, probably about 20 years or so, they can probably come in and do an overstory removal. But a lot of times they don't, just for whatever reasons, habitat purposes, a lot of nesting, a lot of birds use like these trees for nesting and stuff. So there's that. Whoever designed this project, whatever forester and wildlife biologist and other people, designed this project, they might want to keep these trees, for wildlife purposes, or just because it's the economic incentive, again, with a follow-up treatment is not there. And a lot of times, that's why, you want to try to, especially like shelter wood, trying to come in and do an overstory removal. Because you're trying to get a return on your investment. Because with like particularly shelter wood, you have a prep cut, and then you have like the actual shelter wood cut, and then once the regeneration establishes, and like that 15 years or whatever, you know, about that time frame, a little bit more, plus or minus, depending on site quality, all that. Forget my dog's like running around being crazy. That's him though. But you want to do a pre-commercial thin, just to help try to reduce the density and competition in which the regeneration is growing at. But anyhow, I come to you today with all this because I wanted to make a case for the importance of foresters and forestry here in Colorado. It's kind of been on my mind lately. I don't think it's something that we really talk about. I mean, you know, in forestry circles we talk about it, but we don't really talk about it with the public. And maybe I'm not the most qualified person to really speak to it on the public, but it's something that I really want to share. And I just, you know, it's like, you know, maybe I should just make a video. I haven't made a video in a while either. But anyhow, so a professional forester like myself, you know, we forestry is the art and science of managing forests. You know, we study forests, you know, like their processes, anything from disturbance such as wildfire and insect, as well as like community dynamics such as gap dynamics, when like individual mortality, you know, occurs across, you know, as it's gap dynamics is kind of a whole nother discussion. But one thing that I've seen a lot lately is, you know, there's a huge issue or a huge need for foresters in Colorado, and there's the State Forest Service, there's consulting foresters, there's U.S. Forest Service, but it's like, you know, with everything that we got going on, there's just a huge, you know, with the mountain pine beetle, the spruce beetle, tussock moth, spruce budworm, wildfire, water quality, you know, all these things. I mean, you know, recreation, you know, different, you know, uses, you know, like grazing, recreation, you know, wildlife, you know, all these different, you know, uses. You know, there's, you know, it's like there's a lot for foresters and other natural resource managers to handle. And I'm coming to you today because, you know, it's like, especially private landowners, you know, especially if you live here in Colorado, I know that, you know, chances are you might have some kind of private or some kind of insect disease issue on your private property, especially, you know, like large parcels, spruce beetle, mountain pine beetle, even Doug fir beetle. Those are kind of the big ones. There's also like tussock moth, there's armillaria, which is a root disease. But a lot of these issues, you know, it's just, you know, there are certain things we can do to help, and especially when you're I don't know, a landowner with large acreage or a rancher, some of these tasks can be kind of daunting, and especially given some of our resources, we don't seem to have a lot of resources. You know, it's like state seems to be pretty busy. Forest Service is usually busy, and you know, and then people can talk about the political climate, I guess, if they wanted to do so, you know, but politics is kind of whatever. I'm not here to discuss politics. I'm here to discuss more or less, you know, the importance of trying to get you know, the word out on, you know, the importance of professional foresters here in Colorado, especially trying to consult private consultants or like the state, U.S. Forest Service, BLM. A lot of times they'll be able to answer questions, but they typically don't deal with private land. There's a couple exceptions, like Good Neighbor Authority, but other than that, they don't really do a whole lot. It seems that they're more or less, you know, concerned with national forests like this. But the message I'm trying to drive home here is that, you know, is that if you're in need of a professional forester, contacting professional forester like myself, or a state employee, or a consulting like a state employee, or or a private individual, or just who, a professional a professional forester, if they got the time, they'll try to sit down with you. I mean, that's, most foresters I know, we're concerned about, forest stewardship, and we want to try to share that with other people, regardless of where they come from, or what their interests are, or whatever. We care about the land. I mean, and I think most people across the board do, and we want to try to share that with you all. But I wanted to just make this video about the importance of foresters, and their role in trying to address these forestry issues across Colorado and the interior West. Unlike other parts of the country, generally timber harvesting, trying to sell timber is not really common. I mean, it does occur. You can sell your timber, but typically that's other places like the Southeast, particularly when you have higher species, or higher value species like walnut, oak. Here, pine, Doug fir, spruce, they're really not that great in terms of economic value. I mean, they do have some, but sometimes it's a negative economic value. That's kind of the, funny thing about Colorado. But as a forest landowner, if you have questions, feel free to contact a forester. Especially consulting for forester, because they can sit down with you and help you develop a management plan, help you outline goals if you want, if you are able to, if the economics are there to help you sell your timber, if you want to improve wildlife habitat. For me, I'm a pretty avid sportsman, so I'm all about that. I know a lot of people back east, a lot of folks back east, they talk about food plots and stuff. Never really explored the option of that here in Colorado, but I guess you could probably play with it if you wanted to, if that was something you wanted to do as a landowner. And then but obviously with that caveat, probably trying to talk to Colorado Parks and Wildlife, see what the legality is of all that, if it's like baiting or whatever. That's not exactly my where I'm at. That's not exactly my set of expertise. I was trying to talk to CPW about. That's probably your best bet. But yeah, we can talk to, help you with recreation. We can help you with wildlife. We can help you with insect disease issues. I mean, a bunch of stuff. I try to want to make, I can't express its importance enough, because we all need to talk to other folks from time to time, consult experts. So please, if you if you have issues, feel free to try to contact the state. Also, a consulting forester, because a lot of times the state is, they're strapped with stuff. Anyhow. I would like to thank you guys for watching. I haven't been able to upload a video for a while. I've been pretty busy with everything, but I hope to add more videos in the future. And once again, thanks for watching today. I appreciate it, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.